Rod, if you're free, I have an extra ticket to the Warriors and Oil Kings game in Moose Jaw tonight if you want to join me. I would love to, but I can't. To quote Sammy Seafood Sam, I'm busy.
How about that?
Where's Seafood Sam?
Yeah.
Moved to Calgary. He's busy.
Yeah.
But thank you, Glenn.
Muna.
Big shots.
Sitting out there up there with the Russian national coach at the press conference.
Guy ran a seafood restaurant in Saskatoon, okay? His name was Seafood Sam. That was the name of the restaurant, and the Saskatoon Blades would bring him down to coach the All-Star or the intra-squad game, and he'd start brawls. And
I remember
Mona
hearing the story about Daryl Lubanicki. They told the guys no more fights, and so all of a sudden there's a fight, and then they drop the puck, and then there's another fight. And there's another.
He's coaching the intra-squad
One
game.
kid had fought 3 times, so Daryl Lubanicki said, "I'm going to put an end to this." And he walks around the rink, and he comes over to the kid who's had 3 fights, and he says, "What in is going on around here?" And the kid says, "That Chinese guy keeps sending me out to beat out of that." So he had to go to this Seafood Sam, who was this little 5'2" Chinese fellow who owned their local restaurant.
Seafood Sam's.
And tell him to knock it off.
No more fights.
How about that? Get ready for the Rod Pedersen Show.
Is that your boat?
Nah, working on it. That's not mine. It's a friend's.
You have a bigger boat than that, huh? Let me come down and ride around on the boat with you. We could broadcast from the boat. You could do your show, I could do my show, and really there would be no reason for me to leave.
How about that?
Was that your boat in the clip? Are you doing your show from that?
You're the second guy to ask that today. I think that's not, but we're working on it.
This is the Rod Pedersen Show.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to the RP Show. Thank you, Rick Regan, our big voice guy. Indeed, it is the RP Show. Coming at you on a Monday. Let's get the bell out. Brand new week. And, okay, this is the first time. Do you have the You People bell ready, Clark? This is the first time. Every time somebody texts in and tells us that we're not on Game Plus TV today or tomorrow, can you ring the bell? And so for the first time today, I'm going to say, we're not on Game Plus TV today. We know it. Thank you. So we're live on streaming YouTube. We're live on the radio in Atlanta, WQEE. Shout out Rhino Radio. How about those Falcons? Back-to-back winners, division leaders. Yeah, we know we're not on television today, preempted because of pickleball. Don't yell at us. You don't think we want to be on there? It's not up to us. So I'm here in the South Florida studio. Moose is in Toronto. And I don't know. You probably can tell, Darren, you've known me now long enough. I'm a little out of sorts today. I think it's because I ran too much. I ran 4 miles today, and I just sweated like a hooker in church. And I have not recovered from it. So you might have to take over a lot of the show today. We'll see. We'll see. I'm a little lightheaded. You know, I don't know. You ever had that where you sweated and worked out too hard or done something too hard? You don't snap back right away?
Oh, yeah. I know the feeling. You get a little woozy and you're starting to, lose the bearings a little bit. But I believe in you. I think you'll hang in. I think you'll persevere today.
Thank you. I appreciate the vote of confidence. As you see, for those that are watching, the Sober Carpenter text line is open and ready to go for business. 902-518-3033. Sober Carpenter non-alcoholic craft beer is one of our pillar sponsors of the RP Show, bringing you your favorite daytime sports talk show every single day. Can you hit the quick 6 show horn, please, Director Jordan, so he's not sitting there waiting? Before we get into all the topics, I just didn't want him sitting there hovering over the button, just waiting, so he got it out of the way. Before we get to our overreactions on this Monday and the leftovers coming out of the weekend, I didn't really ask you How was your weekend? What did you guys get up to there?
Lots, actually. We've got company. We got family in. Leanne's family's in for the weekend, which is awesome. So got a little bit of that in, some sightseeing, showing them around. But between that, watched a whole lot of football this weekend. So that was what was going on here.
Yeah, that's a bit of the foreshadowing of our quick six. But I just want to say this. I don't know, you shook your head and smiled in the meeting this morning when I said what happened with me on Saturday night. It was a whole lot of quietness. We lead a very simple life. But Saturday I did go to the Florida Panthers and the New York Islanders, and I sidled up to a guy by the name of Dale Talon. And because we're not on Game Plus TV today, that's the second time I brought it up, Clark. You can hit the bell. Just because we're not on television today across all of Canada and 31 U.S. states, the older demographic isn't watching, and that's unfortunate because they would get it. Dale Talon was the general manager of the Chicago Blackhawks and the Florida Panthers. He's actually credited with building both those franchises and was also 16 years color commentator on Chicago Blackhawks broadcast. Pat Foley and Dale Talon. I walked up to him in the press. He lives here. I walked up to him and asked him if he would come on Serena and my Cats and Bolts podcast this week. And he's like, absolutely. He lives in downtown Boca. So he's like, when do you want me? And I said, Wednesday, let's do it. He goes, okay, where am I going? I said, right across from Chops Lobster Bar, right across the street. He's like, I know it well. And then we can go to the Panthers game together after. Yes, we can. It'll be great. And as you said not that long ago, you said it's like, Rod, you're with your people. And I am. That's hockey people. It's a very small group. This will not surprise you in South Florida of hockey people. But it's a good group. And we're strong and united. And we have a lot of fun. And we rely on each other to help each other out. And it's just fantastic. And I love it. So thank you to Dale Talon for helping us out. That'll be episode 11 of the Cats and Bolts podcast. Hey, Jordan, are you still there? Can you hit the quick six show horn and let her rip? He's there.
LFG.
Approved. And let's go. I think we could swear right. No, we can't. We're on the radio in Atlanta. We're going to start with the National Football League. Jordan Love connected with Christian Watson on 2 of his 3 touchdown passes. And the 6-6 Green Bay Packers won their 3rd straight NFL game, 27-19 over Patrick Mahomes and the Kansas City Chiefs on Sunday Night Football. The Packers scored touchdowns on 3 of their first 4 drives and never trailed in the game. Green Bay knocked down Mahomes' pass into the end zone on the game's final play. It was wild. Just a couple of NFL leftovers for me coming out of the weekend. Tyreek Hill had 2 touchdowns among his 157 yards receiving to help the Miami Dolphins rout the Washington Commanders 45-15. The Finns are the AFC East leading club now. They're the number 1 seed in the AFC. They're 9-3 for the first time since 2001. Justin Herbert threw for 212 yards and set up a pair of field goals as the Chargers beat New England 6-0. I laugh because you know I don't like Tom Brady. I don't like the Patriots fans. I'm seeing what they're saying. They're like, we're unwatchable now. And yet week after week after week, they keep trotting out the same thing. It's amazing. Any other coach would be fired by now. And Atlanta, Desmond Ridder threw for a 20-yard touchdown pass to Michael Pruitt, and the Atlanta Falcons took over sole possession of first in the NFC South by slogging their way to an ugly 13-8 victory over the punchless New York Jets. Those were some of the things I was paying attention to. The Cowboys won, obviously, way back on Thursday, beating Seattle. Ho-hum. Cowboys have a wild card spot at 9-3. Think about that for a second. But what were your takeaways? What were your takeaways from the weekend?
That's how tight the NFC is, man. I saw the pregame stuff between Philly and San Francisco, and then the 49ers just had their way with the Eagles winning that football game. But I don't want to correct you, so tell me if I'm wrong, but I want to make sure people know you don't like Bill Belichick. You slipped in there and you said you didn't like Tom Brady.
Oh, I'm sorry. Did I say Tom Brady?
No.
That was a Freudian slip.
I know, and I want to make sure everybody is pretty clear on that. You and I love Tom Brady. We love Tom. Anyways,
yeah,
it was good.
I would hope they know that. Yeah,
I would hope so too.
Mm-hmm.
Titans blew it, missed an extra point that could have won them the game, lost in overtime to Indy, and now we are on the let's just lose them all and get a high draft pick train. So that's where we are coming out of Sunday.
Yeah, well, hey, we're going to go fast. Bing, 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 bing. The Colts won again. What's up with that? The Houston Texans won again. What's up with that? That was a huge game in Houston with Denver there. So the games are starting to mean a lot. We're not even in the home stretch yet. But there's a lot of excitement in the National Football League. But I'm going to say it right now. Overreaction Monday before we move on to NHL, college football, NHL again. The officiating thing, I swear to God, I've just closed my ears to it. I've shut it down. I don't want to hear it. I saw people were sending me the clips on the final drive of the Packers-Chiefs game, the pass interference. The bold statement is this: officiating's never going to change. It's never going to get better. Agree or disagree? I'm lobbing that into your lap because it's kind of taken me a while to get my feet on the ground, get my head out of the smoke, and just get clear on something. I've been in sports twice as long or longer than most of the people that think they actually know what they're talking about. If anybody knows what they're talking about, it's me. So if you want to talk about officiating and it being bad, I was around before there was no video replay, almost before there was no televised games. I'm friends with all the officials. My God, you think I don't talk to them? So while they're on the field trying to make a call in front of millions of people, split second, bang, bang, they might screw it up. They might screw it up. And in hockey, the fastest game in the world, they might make a mistake. So let's take the on-field officials out of it, okay? They don't like the replay. Living room officiating, Darren. Everybody's got an opinion on something. That guy or gal had to make an opinion. Bang, bang. What happened? And 97% of the time, they're right. But let's go to the replay. And they're screwing that up. Because 10 people can look at one play and have 10 different opinions. That's one. And then two, they won't admit it, but some will. It's the bias against that player, against that team, against that coach, against that fan base. It's in the back of their head, if you know anything about subconscious thought. So that influences the people on the field, the people in the control room, the people that are their bosses. Thank you, whoever put those words in my mouth, because I was far more eloquent and thought out than I actually thought when I was going into this, Darren. I don't want to hear the officiating argument unless it's my team getting screwed, and even then it doesn't really matter. There's all these factors that go into officiating that I don't think Joe Blow understands. It's never going to change, so I don't want to hear it. Agree or disagree?
I agree. Not even Tom Brady, the GOAT, was clean 97% of the time and only made mistakes on 3% of his throws or his plays, right? The refs, I think you're bang on 95, 97% of the time they're making the right call. They're performing at a higher rate than any athlete or coach ever does anywhere. But the problem is when they make a mistake, it has big consequences. I get that. But when you look at the game last night, they're talking about two plays at the end. A big play, unnecessary roughness against the Packers on Patrick Mahomes that probably shouldn't have been called, and then one the other way. So they essentially is a wash, right? It's a wash. You probably won on either side. But at the end of the day, no, it's not going to get better. I don't think it's an overreaction, because what happens is the replay gets better, and we point out every single mistake, even if it's only 1 out of 100 or 5 out of 100. Calls that they make are wrong. Yeah, very rare. They do a great job.
Even the guy or gal in the, whatever you want to call it, the situation room looking at the film might make a mistake. It happens. Because as long as there's a human element, there will be mistakes, because humans are not perfect. So I think that's why I cracked the mic. This is not a great way to start the week if I'm annoyed with people already. This is annoyed by listening to everybody coming out of the weekend with regards. Everybody's upset about something, mostly with football. It doesn't seem like a lot of people are with hockey. So it's not going to change, so I don't want to hear about it. But I also understand it's like one of the biggest parts of sports is officiating and calls. I get it. And it's cost people championships. It's going to always cost people championships. Sorry. Now, moving on, point 2, Brad Marchand scored a natural hat trick, and Charlie McAvoy added 2 assists as the Boston Bruins defeated the visiting Columbus Blue Jackets 3-1 Sunday. Elsewhere, Philip Forsberg and Yakov Trenin each scored as the Predators edged the Sabres 2-1 in Buffalo. Jenna down there in Southern California, who points out every time the Sabres win, it was pretty quiet this weekend. Jenna was not tagging us on Twitter because the Sabres lost twice. Quentin Byfield's second goal of the game, scored at 13:26 of the third period, snapped a 1-1 tie, and helped the LA Kings trip the visiting Colorado Avalanche 4-1. There's a lot of games Sunday in the NHL. I didn't focus on football, to be honest. I told you I'm trying to concentrate on just one game a day, whether it's live in person or on television, one game a day, and then go on to other things. And to be honest, for that reason, I've never been happier. Just not everything's in my head. I watched Chicago lose 4-1 in Minnesota. Connor Bedard looked tired to me. He was turning the puck over. He was still quarterback in the power play. He's still Connor, but he only had 1 assist. He wasn't like the day before in Winnipeg, which I also watched that game, where I'm sorry, he made Connor Hellebuck look a little foolish on that goal. His 11th, which I believe leads the Chicago Blackhawks. Those are some of my observations coming out of the weekend from the National Hockey League. What were yours?
Yeah, a little bit of the same. I look at that Toronto-Boston game. That's the one that I got to spend more time watching, and what a game. The Leafs have this weird ability to find a way to get into overtime or shootouts, and it seems like every night they're playing in overtime or in a shootout. But what a great overtime that was. We talk about needing to change the overtime rules, the doubling back and looping up, but that was 2 good teams going head-to-head in overtime. I really enjoyed that, some skill, and then Marchand ends it into almost an empty net. But a fun night, a fun weekend of hockey, and now it feels like it gets a little bit quiet here for a few days. Not quite as much action here throughout the early part of the week.
Yes and no. There's 6 games tonight. The Jets are home to Carolina. The Hurricanes are opening up a Western road trip. The Stars disemboweled the Tampa Bay Lightning 8-1 on Saturday in Dallas, and now the Stars are at Tampa tonight. So we're going to talk about that more in hour 2. Nelson writes in as I dabble in the viewer comments. Nelson says, just like you always talk about, RP, if 30,000 people showed up to watch the average person do their desk job and they messed up, they'd crack in a heartbeat. Yeah, and the referees have nerves of steel. And to be honest, I kind of look at Tim Peel and what happened to him. He's got reason to be upset as far as I'm concerned. I don't know him personally. We've had Tim Peel on this show, but I see some of the things he's done on social media and then what things that have been said to and about him. You think you're going to hurt a referee's feelings? It's not possible, bro. For whatever reason. That's just the way they are. And then with me, I'm desensitized to a lot of things, and I think that's actually a good thing. I've been through so much of my life that nothing scares me, nothing bothers me, nothing worries me. So with the Bedard thing last week, it was a tough week for them, and I do have empathy, but it's like, hey, you're going to learn from this, you're going to move on, you're going to get more solid out of it. Because the girl that has the rumor going on, like a friend of mine, had a daughter who was like 17, and then they had another kid. So the 17-year-old daughter was seen pushing that baby around, and people thought it was her baby. That was the thing around school. Actually, no, it was her little brother. But you know what I mean? But rumors get going around. This girl's this. You know what I mean? It's rumors happen. They suck. Yeah. I get the difference between what's going around the high school hallways versus North America. But it's like, hey, you'll learn from it. I'm desensitized. Refs are desensitized to it. I'll never forget, speaking of the Canadian Football Officials Association banquet, you've heard this many times, but the one ref came up to me. Again, Canadian Football Officials Association. On the docket was Mike Pereira and me. We were to be the guest speakers, and the one ref came up and said, I listened to your games. Thank you for not crapping all over us. They're just used to it. We're overtime here. We're going to take a break right away. We've got a lot to get into. We're only 2 points in. We haven't got to the college football story yet. TSN's NHL power rankings are out. I do want to recap week 1 in the NLL. We'll get to your comments, everybody. A whole lot more. So Stay right where you are. Don't touch that dial. We'll be right back on Game Plus Television. No, not Game Plus Television. That's 3. It's just me saying it. WQEE Radio, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and YouTube Live.
The sports landscape continues to change, and teams and facilities are under more pressure to provide online and in-venue entertainment. They need the right team to deliver their product. Look no further than IKS Live. We provide service across North America and produce the best fan experience across all platforms.
We're all capable of doing more. More speed, more reps, more commitment to getting every detail perfect. And that's why it's important we never miss a donation appointment. Blood and plasma donors are needed every day in Canada to support thousands of patients that rely on Canada's lifeline. We're asking you to join the Hockey Gives Blood Partners for Life team. Join today by downloading the Give Blood app or book online at blood.ca/HGB.
IKS Game Day wishes to congratulate the city of Estevan and Affinity Place on their brand new center ice display. This state-of-the-art score clock features 5 LED faces with full motion graphics, scoring integration, and our new Halo mounting system. If it's time for an upgrade, let us show you how to deliver the best fan experience. You can find us at IKSGameDay.com.
Did you know that you can help save life? And you can start right now.
Stem cells from male donors increase chances of positive outcomes for patients, yet they only make up 40% of our registry.
Today, there are hundreds of people in Canada searching for their life-saving match.
You can be a patient's best hope. Be a hero by registering with Canadian Blood Services Stem Cell Registry now.
Does this look familiar? Your fans deserve an incredible arena experience. It's time for an upgrade. Stunning graphics. Revenue opportunities are just the beginning with our in-venue display systems and scoring technology. Let us help you find the best solution for your facility. DDG, always delivering the best fan experience.
Text 902-518-3033. 902-518-3033. Pick up your phone and text RP, that's Rod Pedersen. Text 902-518-3033.
Here's how your business can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show. All you have to do is contact us, and we will tell you all about the dynamic and exciting marketing opportunities we have, utilizing a fully integrated 360-degree multi-platform. Imagine your business seen and heard across Canada on Game Plus TV and around the world on the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. You will use one of the most overused expressions in sports. You gotta be kidding me. Get your business involved. Contact the Rod Pedersen Show today.
It is episode 1134 of your favorite daytime sports talk show. Coming at you on YouTube live today and the radio, WQEE. Shout out Rhino Radio. Gorgeous day here in South Florida, as you can tell, 30 degrees Celsius with humidity, humidity. And Moose is in Toronto. And just regarding officiating, everybody's going to have an opinion on it. It's like belly buttons, of course. Everybody has one. Steve Smith writes in from Steinbach, Manitoba, watching, and he says, Frazier's missed call high stick on Gilmore in 1993, Game 6. It happens. In 1993. I thought it was Don Koharski. But forgive me, it was only 30 years ago. Stephen writes in, says, greetings and no hallucinations from beautiful Guyman, Oklahoma. 11:11 Central with the RP show. Approved. Thank you, Stephen from Oklahoma. John Ohm. Look, let me get out all my noisemakers and toys, okay? John, the whole gang's here today. He says, for all you Jets fans, game tonight is on at 6:30, not 7 p.m. There you go. You wouldn't want to show up late. Thank you, John Ohm. We'll get into all these games a little more next hour. John says, by the way, I saw number 98 in person. The kid was tired, but still was amazing. His fast release to score is amazing. He's talking about Connor Bedard. And by the way, 85-mile-an-hour wrist shot, they're saying. Serena came up with a bright idea of we've got a slap shot contest in the NHL skills competition. Why don't we have a wrist shot speed competition in the NHL skills? Instead of like these doorknobs down here in South Florida last year going, here, let's have a shooting gallery and knock over surfboards. Or let's go out to a golf course and shoot pucks to see if we can put them on the green. No, why don't we do things that actually matter, like speed testing wrist shots and snapshots? But whatever, Darren. We got to let it go. Any thoughts before we move on?
The wrist shot would be awesome to do that and see who's got the hardest wrist shot. Because watch a hockey game in the National Hockey League, and you count in one game, how many slap shots are there? Not very many anymore. Not that like there used to be.
No.
Used to be way more. Secondly, if we're talking about officiating and you got to call up a call from 30 years ago, tells me the refs are doing okay. If that's the freshest big blown call that comes to mind. You know what I mean? Yeah.
Can somebody clarify? You might have to go to Google. Can we get a ruling on this? Steve Smith and Steinbach said it's Kerry Fraser. I thought it was Don Koharski.
I'm going to go with Kerry Fraser.
I'm going to. Okay. Thank you. Get ready, Clark. Kirk in Toronto writes in on the Sober Carpenter text line. He says, hi, Rod. Kirk here, watching you on YouTube today as the RP show has been preempted for 7 straight hours of exciting pickleball on Game Plus television. We covered it, but thank you, Kirk. We covered it. We know. Appreciate you making the move over here. So it's in my commentary today, and I appreciate my guy, MyDale Mike, for letting me know how much you love my commentary today. It runs on Sask Radio. You can read it at rodpeterson.com. It was about what's your sports vortex right now? What's in your purview? Because everybody's different. What's top of mind? A lot of mine is college football. And I know that's not just because I'm here in football mad Florida. A lot of my Canadian friends are into it too, including Darren. He's got his Michigan jacket on. But I'll read the Wire story. The last year of college football's 4-team playoff produced a truly unsatisfying outcome on Sunday when unbeaten Florida State was left out because essentially its starting quarterback got hurt. Top-ranked Michigan will face Alabama at the Rose Bowl in one January 1st semifinal, and Washington meets Texas in the other in the Sugar Bowl. Florida State was bumped to the Orange Bowl. They'll play it here, and will face 2-time defending national champion Georgia. It was not so much that the 13-member voting committee got it wrong by putting Alabama in over the Seminoles, who lost their quarterback Jordan Travis. It's difficult to argue the Seminoles in their current state without their quarterback, number 1 and 2 quarterbacks, are better than any of those 4 playoff games. Alabama or Texas would have been deservedly frustrated if they'd been snubbed. Still, keeping Florida State out feels worse. Cold, almost heartless. The quarterback, Jordan Travis, apologized to his teammates for being hurt and the fans over the weekend. And the coach, Mike Norvell, said he was, quote, disgusted and infuriated and said, what is the point of playing games, unquote. So before we delve into this any further, if you are following this as a football fan and specifically a college football fan, Our poll question today for Key Auto Group. And by the way, at the Key Auto Group, you can buy with confidence knowing that they provide reports on all vehicles they sell. Get fully informed about your next vehicle by going to keyautogroup.ca. The question is, are you happy with the final 4 teams selected for the college football playoff? It's just 4 teams. It's the last year they're doing it. Next year they're going to 12. But this is the most controversial they've ever had in this format that Florida State's not involved in, to be honest. I'm going to set a big old bear trap here for Moose. Because I know you have thoughts on this. And I'd like to know, as a matter of fact, before I catch your foot on this trap, I'll tell you what it is. You're the one that often says life isn't fair. So I saw you tweeting yesterday about Florida State and how much this sucks for their players. When I was running 4 miles today, listening to ESPN radio, the entire 4-mile run was about this topic. And I heard every argument. And it was written, I just read the best argument. The top 4 teams left standing are in this. You can't argue that. What sucks is Florida State's had a great story. 13-0, won their conference, but their top 2 quarterbacks are hurt. They're not as good as the other 4. That's why they're not in it. Life's not fair. Have I convinced you yet, or what do you think?
No, you haven't. And it's not that it's not the good argument, because that's kind of what they're saying is these are the best 4 teams. We want to have the best games. We want to have the best viewership. I don't blame them for that. I really don't. But there's probably an argument that Georgia should be in there and Texas maybe should be out because they're better. The NFL doesn't have a selection committee, but it's kind of like saying, oh, Joe Burrow's back. The Bengals have only won 5 games all year, but they're one of the best 4, so we're going to put them in the playoffs, and we're going to knock the Dallas Cowboys out, who are in first place. It's just, it feels a little arbitrary, and I just don't like the message that it sends to a team that said, look, okay, our quarterback's gone. Okay, our next quarterback's gone. We've completely changed our philosophy now. We're a defensive team first, and we're going to win these games low scoring, by single-digit points. And we're going to go into Michigan, and we're going to try and suffocate them and win by a single-digit score. Who are we to say that they wouldn't be able to do that? And I feel like we robbed them of the opportunity to do that. And there's nothing those players could have done to get into the college football playoff. They won all the games. They did everything they needed to.
Yeah.
Nothing more they could have done. So I just don't like that message that it sends. And unfortunately, it would be solved with a 12-team playoff. But if you put them in and they got blown out, we would have been crying that Alabama or Georgia should have been in. So nobody was going to be happy no matter what.
Well, I get why the FSU people are upset, the players and the coaches, and it sucks for them. There's almost fights on the street here in Florida over this, and I got to caution people to just walk it back a little bit if they can. Because, again, it sucks. It's a very harsh life lesson. Boil it down to life's not fair. End of story. You have a committee deciding who these teams are going to be. There's always going to be politics, and that's what this is. Allie in Texarkana writes in. She says, hook 'em and let's go blue. Take down the tide. So, yeah, they're into it. Nelson, our VP of Sim Events, says, why does the NCAA complicate football playoffs? They always have. Imagine if they had a New Year's Madness similar to NCAA basketball. Why do they do it? Because they have to, because there's too many teams, which was a wonderful argument I also heard this morning on ESPN radio, which was they have 68 teams in March Madness basketball, and there's still people pissed off that they don't get picked for that. So there's always going to be somebody upset. Always, always, always. And this NCAA, I'll tell you something. Let me stop for a second. Arlen Bruce says, when I played in the Big Ten, Arlen Bruce writes in, 2-time Grey Cup champion, former Kansas City Chiefs. He says, when I played in the Big Ten, I think our team was just excited about going to a bowl game. Nowadays, it seems like a bowl game is a slap in the face. Well, there's that. Yes. Yes. Yeah. KAB, thank you for that. B. Henderson in Winnipeg says, why does Game TV think I want to watch pickleball? I want Rod on my Bell MTS. Yeah, thank you. I didn't even have to ask for it. Do we want to dig up the phone number, or do you want to go DM Game Plus Network? And you can tell them I said to. I don't want to get in a whole lot of trouble. But Darren was in a meeting with Game Plus, and they said when your show's not on, people are upset. And then they go and preempt us. So, yeah, we would like to be on. We're not on national television today. We're on streaming only. But you all found us, so that's good. I know you have a point on that. We're going to have to run here right away. It's a really good point about AB. This college football thing, 2 years ago, when I first started diving into this, I probably wouldn't have even understood what's going on here right now. But I do now. And it's interesting just how this show's grown. I had somebody from Liberty University reach out to me and ask if we would be interested in having a Liberty Flames segment on the show over the next couple of weeks. I'm like, probably not, but I appreciate it. And that was us, as you know, Darren, showing up at the Boca Bowl last year and broadcasting live from the Liberty Flames Hotel and having their people on. So it's great, but yeah, probably not something we're going to do. But I did watch Liberty on Friday night, and that was a hell of a football game that they were in their facility in Lynchburg. Clearly a lot to get into in hour two. Moose, thanks for your contributions.
You bet. We'll see you then.
Moose will be back. We're 40 minutes into this damn thing already. We just got started. Jeff Paterson joins us from Vancouver next. Ho, ho, ho. We've got a lot. We got a lot to get into with JP. We'll be right back. Not on Game Plus Television today, but on WQBE Radio, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and YouTube Live.
IKS Game Day wishes to congratulate the city of Estevan and Affinity Place on their brand new center ice display. This state-of-the-art score clock features 5 LED faces with full motion graphics, scoring integration, and our new Halo mounting system. If it's time for an upgrade, let us show you how to deliver the best fan experience. You can find us at IKSGameDay.com.
Nestled in the scenic Qu'Appelle Valley, just 20 minutes northwest of Regina, is one of the finest golf courses in all of Saskatchewan, the Deer Valley Golf Club. The clubhouse has a full-service restaurant, and customers can enjoy a casual dining experience with spectacular views of the golf course and valley. A fully stocked golf shop, staffed by PGA of Canada professionals, is equipped to meet all of your golf apparel and equipment needs. Book your tee time, family event, or corporate tournament at the Deer Valley Golf Club. Call 306-731-1445.
Does this look familiar? Your fans deserve an incredible arena experience. It's time for an upgrade. Stunning graphics. Revenue opportunities are just the beginning with our in-venue display systems and scoring technology. Let us help you find the best solution for your facility. EDG, always delivering the best fan experience.
We're all capable of doing more. More speed, more reps, more commitment to getting every detail perfect. And that's why it's important we never miss a donation appointment. Blood and plasma donors are needed every day in Canada to support thousands of patients that rely on Canada's lifeline. We're asking you to join the Hockey Gives Blood Partners for Life team. Join today by downloading the Give Blood app or book online at blood.ca/HGB.
Here's how your business can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show. All you have to do is contact us, and we will tell you all about the dynamic and exciting marketing opportunities we have, utilizing a fully integrated 360-degree multi-platform. Imagine your business seen and heard across Canada on Game Plus TV and around the world on the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. You will use one of the most overused expressions in sports. You gotta be kidding me. Get your business involved. Contact the Rod Pedersen Show today.
Hey, it's game day in Florida, but across the state, it's in Tampa Bay where the Lightning are home to Dallas. The Stars will be here Wednesday for Game 2 of the Florida Panthers' 3-game homestand. It's Aaron Ekblad bobblehead night. I already got my Alexander Barkov bobblehead. I have to get my second to complete. Or give me 2 of the 3 in the set. We'll get to your comments next segment from all the viewers. I appreciate it. Let's bring in Jeff Paterson from Rink Vancouver. 2 goals in the opening 10 minutes gave Vancouver a lead it wouldn't relinquish on Saturday night. Ilya Mikheyev, Sam Lafferty, and Elias Pedersen each scored once and had an assist as the Canucks withstood a late push from the Flames to hang on for a 4-3 NHL win. And JP, thanks for joining us. Your take on that game, if you don't mind. Not easy to go into Calgary and win for anybody, but Vancouver did it in Nikita Zadorov's debut. What was your take on the game?
Yeah, well, that was the big storyline. Obviously, you make a trade with the team, and then he sits there and waits for his new team to arrive and then faces his old team on Saturday night. So the storylines presented themselves there, and I thought Zadorov was fine. He played 17 and a half minutes. He was out there late, gets an assist on the empty netter, so he preserves the victory. But as you said, it was really the start there. 2 minutes in, Quinn Hughes scores, and they add to that, and that gave them a bit of a cushion. And Rod, that was a big bounce-back game for the Canucks because you probably saw that they lost to Vegas on Thursday, and the Canucks have had an incredible start here, and there's a real buzz back in Vancouver, and it's been fun. They're 25 games into this thing, but the game against Vegas on home ice on Thursday, it kind of felt like the Golden Knights came to town and said, "Oh, really? You guys think you're in our class?" And then just kind of, swatted them away, outshot them by a 2-1 margin, beat them 4-1. And I think that there were some learnings there for the Canucks. And so they had to turn around quickly, go to Calgary, a divisional rival, divisional game. And the Flames were playing better of late. And so the Canucks with the regulation win, and it got a little dicey there at the end, but they held them off. They win it 4-3. They extend their lead to 10 points over Calgary, and that matters because obviously the Canucks believe that they've done enough in the early going here to be a playoff team. That said, there's still a lot of hockey to be played, so to extend their lead to 10 points over a team like Calgary that's in that chase pack, that was an important victory for them on Saturday night.
Hey, Zadorov was booed every time he touched the puck. Was it in fun or not in fun? I saw his quotes after. He's like, the players here love me. I love them. Do the fans? What was the vibe on that?
I think anytime a guy asks for a trade, I think the fans think that he's sort of turning his back on the organization and the city. And we've seen in recent years, obviously, with Johnny Hockey and Matthew Tkachuk, and there have been a few that, have wanted out of Calgary. Everybody's got their own reasons. So I think it was a bit of a mixed bag. I think that some of it's in fun. There's always that sheep mentality. If the guy beside me is booing, I better boo as well. And Saturday night, they're probably fueled up there in the Saddle Dome. Whatever the case, Zadorov is a character. I had heard that about him. This guy's bounced around. It's his 5th NHL team, so he's gone back and played former teams a bunch of times. This isn't new to him. Didn't seem to faze him. And I got a kick out of the fact that Rick Tocchet decided to pair him up with Tyler Myers. So you got 6 foot. Zadorov's the small guy on that pairing rod at 6'6", with Tyler Myers, who's 6'8", 6'10" on skates. And, I think that's going to be a pair that the Canucks are going to continue to trot out here and see if that's something that, can work for them moving forward.
Yeah, it seemed to work the other night. Now, tell me if this is true. We get so many numbers pumped into our head. I can't remember, keep them all straight. I think the Flames were 12, 8, and 4 or something in November. And the Canucks have cooled off a little bit. Am I right in saying they're 4-5 in their last 9? Is that right, or did I dream that?
No, and they've alternated wins and losses. So it's kind of funny. They're in this stretch here where it's win one, lose one for the better part of a couple of weeks, but they got off to a 12-3-1 start. And that's where I say, like, that's put them in this position now. 500 hockey the rest of the way won't quite get them into the playoffs, but when you put that many points in your back pocket in the early going, you've set yourself up. And this is a team that for the last couple of seasons has got off to these terrible starts and has been playing catch up really since the first week of the season. So the tables have turned here, and that's why I say people are cautiously optimistic. But when you've got Quinn Hughes off to the start that he's off to, Elias Pedersen had 21 points in his first 10 games. He's cooled, certainly, but nobody's talking about JT Miller. JT Miller's tied for second in NHL scoring. Brock Besser leads the NHL with 17 goals, and you got Thatcher Demko doing his thing as one of the best goaltenders in the NHL. So, individually, they've got some parts here that certainly have propelled this start. And it's a question of, can those guys keep up at the levels that they've been at? Probably not. And some of that too is, and this gets talked about a lot out here. Like, you can't control your schedule. At the end of the season, you've played 41 at home, 41 on the road. You've played everybody. But the Canucks have benefited from a relatively soft schedule in terms of the quality of competition that they've faced. Only 6 of their first 24 games have been against teams that are currently in the top 10 in the National Hockey League standings. They've already beaten the Oilers 3 times when the Oilers couldn't score a goal and couldn't get a save. So the schedule worked in their favor in that regard. A couple of wins over a sad sack San Jose team, although they lost to the Sharks as well. So, look, the Canucks are beating the teams for the most part that are there in front of them on any given night, but they also know that there will be bigger and better challenges as this season moves along.
Jeff, the difference is Rick Tocchet. That's it. And you going into the season, you said they are good, but how much better are they going to be a playoff team? And right now they are. What's Tocchet done? Can you put your finger on what he's done?
Yeah, a couple of things. One is he really seems to have brought the best out in JT Miller. JT Miller had a 99-point season a couple of years ago, and we thought, all right, can he get back anywhere close to that level? And then at the start of last year under Bruce Boudreau, the defensive side of the game just got away from JT. I mean, he was out getting scored on. I think he was on the ice for the first 8 or 9 goals of the season that the Canucks surrendered. And so we talk about a guy that got off to a tough start and it didn't get a whole lot better from there. And I think Rick Tocchet came in, and JT Miller is a guy that was raised in the Pittsburgh area. I think he watched Rick Tocchet as a player. He certainly knows what Rick Tocchet's all about. And on some levels, they're not the same. The game has changed, but JT Miller's a no-nonsense kind of guy. Plays hard and competes, and I think Rick Tocchet was able to reach him on some levels about both ends of the ice, and he's been terrific. He's taken on matchups all season long, and as I said, he's tied for second in scoring, so he's risen above, holding his own defensively. So that's been a huge part of it. I think that a healthy Thatcher Demko. It was this week last year where he got hurt and was out for 3 months, and he had a tough start to begin with, but then he disappeared, and they just didn't have any sort of goaltending as the season started to slip away. So good goaltenders can make good coaches, but Rick Tocchet's just brought in a philosophy of this level of compete and winning your one-on-one battles and winning the board battles and all that type of stuff. I mean, it's pretty simple stuff, but he seems to have reached a lot of these players, and they've molded the roster. It's not perfect by any stretch. It's hard to get a perfect roster in the salary cap era, but they've brought in some guys. Sam Lafferty, you mentioned off the top. He plays a Rick Tocchet style, just up and down, but he's got speed and he's got some size and not afraid to use it. And I think these guys like playing for Rick Tocchet. And the other part too, Rod, is Adam Foote probably deserves a fair bit of credit. I mean, the Canucks were just a disaster last year defensively. Here's Adam Foote. He was available when they made the midseason coaching change. Rick Tocchet brought him in as an assistant, and to a man, certainly the defense corps just rave about the way that Adam Foote approaches the game. Again, a guy, with a resume a mile long, a track record of success. And so instant credibility and respect there. And you're right. I do think that from the top down, there's alignment now from the management group to the coaching staff they brought in midway through last season. And Rick Tocchet had those 36 games last year to sort of instill his systems. And the hope was that they would hit the ground running at training camp. And yeah, I mean, as you look back now, 25 games in, hard to argue with the success the Canucks have had, sitting with a record of 16-8-1.
A wonderful Vancouver Canucks update. I appreciate it, Jeff. Home now for what, 5? Enjoy the hockey. I appreciate it. Happy holidays if I don't talk with you, and thanks for helping us out today.
Yeah, and just quickly, we should get you a Roberto Luongo bobblehead to add to your collection. He's going into the Ring of Honor here at the end of next week when the Panthers are in town, and they are giving away a Lou bobblehead. So I may have to find a way to slide you one there to add to your collection.
That'd be nice, JP. Appreciate you, brother. Thank you so much. Jeff Paterson from Securis and Price and Rink Wide, Vancouver. Sports update when we come back. Viewer takeover, and I honestly didn't think you all would jump onto this college football thing like you have, but I'm here for it. We'll carry that over into hour 2 as well. And Jeff Reinebold coming up in hour 2 from Sky Sports. We'll be right back. Not on Game Plus television today, but on WQEE Radio, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and YouTube Live.
I'm Bridget Lacroix. I'm a First Nation Olympic silver medalist, and I'm proud to represent Indigenous hockey players across Canada. Each year, hundreds of Canadians need a stem cell transplant from an unrelated donor to save their life. Anyone can have a hard time finding a stem cell match, but for Indigenous peoples, it can be even more difficult because just over 1% of prospective donors on Canada's stem cell registry are of Indigenous backgrounds. Be a hero. Join me in Hockey Gives Blood in helping to make a life-saving difference to those in need. Register today at blood.ca/beahero.
Does this look familiar? Your fans deserve an incredible arena experience. It's time for an upgrade. Stunning graphics. Revenue opportunities are just the beginning with our in-venue display systems and scoring technology. Let us help you find the best solution for your facility. DDG, always delivering the best fan experience.
Text 902-518-3033. 902-518-3033. Pick up your phone and text RP, that's Rod Pedersen. Text 902-518-3033.
We're all capable of doing more. More speed, more reps, more commitment to getting every detail perfect. And that's why it's important we never miss a donation appointment. Blood and plasma donors are needed every day in Canada to support thousands of patients that rely on Canada's lifeline. We're asking you to join the Hockey Gives Blood Partners for Life team. Join today by downloading the Give Blood app or book online at blood.ca/HGB.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest-growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
Weird to say, but I feel like this is the fastest show we've ever done. Not a whole lot of time to get through here. I will just say this, and I also did not expect you to glob on to the college football question as much as we have, but I'm here for it. As I said, the poll question for Key Auto Group, are you happy with the final 4 teams of the college football playoff selection? Washington, Texas, Alabama, Michigan. I know we got a lot of huge college football fans that watch, or are you getting swept up in the hype? Whatever it is. And maybe it's because it's a polarizing topic. 52% of you saying, no, you're not. Obviously, 48% saying, yes, you are. It was just picking up steam, and then we had to stop it to talk Vancouver Canucks with Jeff Paterson, which was great. But we'll roll that over into next hour. And I want to clarify something from Fake Gainer writing us. Where's Fake Gainer? He says, hey, yo, solid show. I like what Darren DuPont's laying down. Real skills in a skills competition. Hardest wrist shot. That wasn't Darren's idea. That was Serena's. I need to clarify that. That's what happens when you listen with half an ear, Fake Gainer. From the Sober Carpenter text line, I'll just read one. To whet your appetite for hour 2. Larry Dye is watching in Medicine Hat, Alberta, Canada. And he says, is the RP show doing the lighting of the Christmas tree? Or should I say the lighting of the palm tree this year? No. But it sure was fun when we did. Talk with Moose about that later. I think we probably could dig up the video of that. I'm sure it's on social media. The lighting of the tree in the bunker in the sweatpants capital. That was quite the show. Sports update on this Monday. The New York Mets announced the hiring of former Blue Jays manager John Gibbons today as bench coach under new manager Carlos Mendoza. The 61-year-old Gibbons managed the Blue Jays from 04 to 08 and then 2013 to 18. He appeared in 18 major league games as a player, all with the Mets in 84 and 86, and was a minor league coach and instructor from 1991 to 2001. And just started following me on Twitter, Jim. John Gibbons, now a member of the New York Mets coaching staff. I think we all like Gibby. The Saskatchewan Rush have dropped their opening game of the 23-24 National Lacrosse League season against the Halifax Thunderbirds 17-12 on the weekend in Nova Scotia. A slow start found the Rush down 9-4 after the first quarter and down 11-5 at halftime. Next up, the Rush will welcome the Rochester Nighthawks to town for their home opener on December 9th. In other NLL season opening games, Philadelphia beat New York 13-10. Rochester over Calgary 14-13. Panther City beat Vancouver 11-7. And Albany dumped Las Vegas 12-10. I swear if they got a NLL team in South Florida, I'd be all over it. Sports Update brought to you by Common Crown Brewing Company, turning your everyday common beer into a unique and exceptional experience. Visit commoncrown.ca. And for Landmark Cinemas, in Landmark Cinemas now, Silent Night. From legendary director John Woo and the producer of John Wick comes this gritty revenge tale of a tormented father who witnesses his young son die when caught in a gang's crossfire on Christmas Eve. Silent Night redefines the action genre with visceral, thrill-a-minute storytelling. Have I sold you yet? Silent Night in Landmark Cinemas now. Moose returns in hour 2, and Coach Reinebold will be with us after this brief pause. Not on Game Plus, but on YouTube and WQEE Radio.
We're all capable of doing more. More speed, more reps, more commitment to getting every detail perfect. And that's why it's important we never miss a donation appointment. Blood and plasma donors are needed every day in Canada to support thousands of patients that rely on Canada's lifeline. We're asking you to join the Hockey Gives Blood Partners for Life team. Join today by downloading the Give Blood app or book online at blood.ca/HGB.
The sports landscape continues to change, and teams and facilities are under more pressure to provide online and in-venue entertainment. They need the right team to deliver their product. Look no further than IKS Live. We provide service across North America and produce the best fan experience across all platforms.
Does this look familiar? Your fans deserve an incredible arena experience. It's time for an upgrade. Stunning graphics. Revenue opportunities are just the beginning with our in-venue display systems and scoring technology. Let us help you find the best solution for your facility. DDG, always delivering the best fan experience.
Nestled in the scenic Qu'Appelle Valley, just 20 minutes northwest of Regina, is one of the finest golf courses in all of Saskatchewan, the Deer Valley Golf Club. The clubhouse has a full-service restaurant, and customers can enjoy a casual dining experience with spectacular views of the golf course and valley. A fully stocked golf shop, staffed by PGA of Canada professionals, is equipped to meet all of your golf apparel and equipment needs. Book your tee time, family event, or corporate tournament today at the Deer Valley Golf Club. Call 306-731-1445.
IKS Game Day wishes to congratulate the City of Estevan and Affinity Place on their brand new center ice display. This state-of-the-art score clock features 5 LED faces with full motion graphics, scoring integration, and our new halo mounting system. If it's time for an upgrade, let us show you how to deliver the best fan experience. You can find us at iksgameday.com.
Text 902-518-3033. 902-518-3033. Pick up your phone and text RP, that's Rod Pedersen. Text 902-518-3033.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest-growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
Is that your boat?
Nah, working on it. That's not mine. It's a friend's.
You have a bigger boat than that, huh? Let me come down and ride around on the boat with you. We could broadcast from the boat. You could do your show, I could do my show, and really there would be no reason for me to leave.
How about that?
Was that your boat in the clip? Are you doing your show from that?
You're the second guy to ask that today. I think that's not, but we're working on it.
This is the Rod Pedersen Show.
Yo, everybody, welcome to the RP Show. Hour 2 coming in hot. I was just informed that we do not have a Darren DuPont here at the top of Hour 2, but I'm quite certain, as is producer Clark, we will. We are not on television today. Don't blame us. We're not on Game Plus TV. Found out just before. Apparently, we're preempted by pickleball today. So it hasn't been as bad as I thought. A lot of people have found us on YouTube Live or WQEE Radio. I do have to give Moose kudos for that. That was his whole idea when we started this thing 5 years ago, that we would not just be on one platform, we'd be on multiple. So yes, preempted by pickleball. Let's bring in the Moose now. We got him. He was just recording another television show. So I appreciate you for doing that, Moose. I'm somewhat surprised, dude, and maybe I shouldn't be, how many people are interested on this college football discussion. And I think it's because it's as much a human interest story as a football story. But Jeff, the Stamps fan, has entered the chat, and he said the football gods never intended Alabama to participate in the Rose Bowl. Well, maybe not, but they're in it. And What do we got here? From Allie, she says, I mean, great movies come from true stories of sports teams overcoming the impossible. And let me break this all down for those that don't know. And we got a lot of NHL stuff to get to, plus a preview of the Monday Nighter. But on Sunday, the 13-person selection committee for NCAA football, college football, picked the best 4 teams to play in semifinals and then the national championship. And they excluded a 5th, which was the Florida State Seminoles, which I've been hearing about all fall, of course. Remarkable story. Could make a movie about them. Went 13-0. Lost their quarterback, Jordan Travis, with a broken leg. But they still managed to win with their second and third string quarterbacks to go 13-0 and win the conference championship, the ACC. But then they didn't get picked for the Final Four, and they're all upset. And Darren, did you notice we were just getting some steam last hour? Then we had to break to talk Canucks, which is fine. I didn't know. We didn't know. Clark didn't know. People were going to care. Why do they care so much, do you think?
Oh, I know, because it's such a human interest story. Because college football at the highest level is very mainstream. I know it's niche when you get into some of these other teams and all the bowl games and all that. But at the high end, we all know who these teams are. We know the stories. But it's interesting. And I got a question for Allie in Texas, who watches this show. If Georgia had beat Alabama and they were undefeated and the SEC champions, I assume they would be number 1. Now you'd be looking at Florida State and Texas. Would you put Texas ahead of Florida State? One-loss team. They won their conference, though, but here's an undefeated Power 5 champion in FSU. Would you put them ahead of Texas? So, like, it's so much to talk about. And it's just the way it played out. They ended up not leaving the SEC out when maybe they could have.
Well, I'm pretty much ready to move on to hockey because I feel like everybody's talking about it. But as you said, people want to know what we think about it. So that's enough, really. But Allie in Texarkana, she's got a lot of thoughts. She's referred to the poll question today, which we should mention, is brought to you by Key Auto Group. At Key Auto Group, they're driven by safety. Experience peace of mind with our comprehensive multi-point inspections. Visit keyautogroup.ca for automotive excellence. And the poll question is, are you happy with the Final Four team selection? Washington, Texas, Alabama, and Michigan. Darren's team. And Allie writes it. And Alabama's mine, so I'm voting yeah. But Allie says, the poll question's almost not a yes or no, though. LOL. I'm happy UT made it, but I feel really bad for Florida. Well, as you just said, your team might not get in, Allie, so I think you got to vote a yes. And I think the bigger lesson to all of this is just these young kids learning that life ain't fair. But I will say this, because I do want to get to the NHL. But Arlen Bruce wrote in here earlier with a really interesting. We have to understand times have changed and they're not going back. I've accepted it, but I feel like I'm the only one, Jerry, the only one. Arlen's saying when he went to school, college, they wanted to play in any bowl game. Any bowl game, they were happy. But now it's, if you're not in contention for the national championship, it's a slap in the face. Because Florida State's going to play Georgia here at the Orange Bowl. I think it's New Year's Eve. That might be the best damn game out of all of them. But the winner won't have the chance to win the national championship and the coveted Crystal Trophy. Are they getting too snobbish with what they're playing for at the end of the year? I think there's something to be said about that.
There is something to be said about that. I'm with you. And it's because of more teams. It's that part of it's going to get worse when you add 12 teams to the playoff, because all the other bowl games won't matter as much. The bowl games that you'll play and then the national championship will mean more. I think the bowl games mattered more when you only had 2 teams at the end of the year picked to go straight to the Natty, because then it was like, look, there's one bowl game. We can't all play in it. There's a lot of good teams, maybe some other undefeated teams. Like, you would be looking at, undefeated teams playing in other bowl games and not the Natty. So, yeah, I think it'll get a little bit worse, the snobbish nature of it's all or bust when it comes to the Natty.
Of course it is. And by the way, John says 13 people to pick the teams to play. Say what? How do you get on this panel? Wowzers. Well, it's athletic directors, I think school presidents, whatever. Here we are again. It's like officiating. Sitting here bitching about politics in sport. It's always going to be there. I'm ready to move on. By the way, I cut myself on one of these cans, ripping the tail off it. After the roughly 1,000,007 beer cans I've crushed in my life. First time I cut myself.
The sober one gets you. Yeah.
How about that? Jay in Winnipeg, thank you for bringing us back into reality. Jay says, the only bowl that matters is the Kachuk Bowl, which I got to say 1 week ago tonight, the Florida Panthers in the Kachuk Bowl in Ottawa won 5-0. Thank you for the injection of sanity, Jay. And there is Jets news. Yes, they've signed Nina Ryder to an extension, so that is big. But this is what I do not understand. Fake Gainer wrote in and said they should have a fighting competition in the All-Star game in the NHL. Well, of course I think they should do that. They should have always done that. But I want to tell you a little bit. I'm grateful that Darren came down to visit, but one thing I've realized here is you can stay a week, even 2 weeks. You don't really get into what it's like. You go to the tourist things, you do the fun things, but it's not like my club sitting around the other night last Thursday, and my guy Mitch, he's from New Jersey, doesn't know whether a hockey puck is chocolate or rubber. And he's like, hey, and he's a huge sports fan, and I love it. He is cool as hell. He loves Goldie, my Jeep. He loves Goldie so much. But he was like, hey, what about this thing that happened the other night in Ottawa? What happened there with something that had never happened before? And I'm like, well, yeah, they kicked everybody out of the game. They gave everybody on the ice 10-minute misconducts. And because there was less than 10 minutes left in the game, they all had to go. I said, it wasn't really a big deal because, as an NHL scout pointed out to me, there was only one fight. There was only one fight out of that, a whole fracas. And then he kind of looked at me like he felt dumb for bringing it up. And I'm like, no, it's a big deal, but not as big a deal as you think. And I sit here, Darren, and I got to be honest with you. The morning after the Kachuk Bowl in Ottawa, we talked about it last week, my phone blew up with all these friends of mine now in South Florida. I've been here long enough. They're all excited about what happened in Ottawa, this melee. And I'm like, I don't understand. Because I'm kidding. I got a point. I hope you're following. I hope everybody's following. I'm getting a lot of questions and opportunities now in the sports world to go back and work for teams, play-by-play. And I'm like, no. My past lives killed it. It killed the fun because, Darren, I was always the one cranking the hype machine. I wanted fights. I wanted to get people talking. Hype sells. But I was always the one on the carpet Monday morning. Rod, what are you doing? Rod, why'd you say this? Rod, why are you promoting fighting? Why are you doing it? And it was no fun. And they completely zapped the fun out of that job. And sometimes I think now, looking, I wasn't the problem. The idiots that were sitting on the other side of the desk were the problem. But the hype is what people want. I still haven't, I don't even know what the point is, but that's what people remember. Don't you want that? I still haven't quite figured that out. Sorry. Do you have any thoughts before I completely turn it around?
No, I mean, manufactured hype versus promoting something negative. I think there's a difference, right? I mean, you don't necessarily promote people getting smashed in the face and having CTE and all of those things, but yet the fighting creates a ton of hype and gets people out of their seats, or it did anyways, right? And now when a melee like that happens in between Ottawa and Florida, you kind of like, oh my God, what could break loose? And nothing happened. Everybody was fine, right? But it was still exciting.
Oh, hey. Yes. And the thing is Reinebold next segment or segment 3, Clark, just so I know? He's okay. I'll try and be fast here. I can't argue with those people, the anti-fighting people, because look around these Panthers games. Every game's sold out. So we don't need fighting to sell tickets. I'm not even saying I was right. What I'm saying is I lost. Leave me alone. Similar to the CFL merging with the XFL. I wanted it to happen. I was wrong. So leave me alone. And for the most part, people have left me alone on that. Wayne in Victoria, BC says, by the way, that's my complaint about Sober Carpenter beer. Their cans are hard to open. I need a knife to open them most of the time. I haven't had that problem. But again, pulling a tab off today, I cut myself. And I'm bleeding, which has made it very difficult for me to open the pull them off. Hey, Moose, I wanted to get to this with you. We got time here to do it. You let me know the second, though, please, that Reinebold logs in, Clark. I know you will. TSN's NHL Pop. Oh, has he? Oh, I'm sorry. He's been logged in for a while. My bad. TSN's NHL Power Rankings are these. I'm a little surprised. And I wonder who they got to do this. Probably my guy, O-Dog. Probably Noodles. Probably Dave Poulin, who, namaste. We seem to connect on a cool level. But they're all wrong, I think. On this overreaction Monday, Darren, they got the LA Kings 1, the New York Rangers 2, the Vegas Golden Knights 3, the Detroit Red Wings 4, the Vancouver Canucks 5, Carolina Hurricanes 6, Boston Bruins 7, and I stopped writing them down after that. But out of all of that, my overreaction Monday is this. The Detroit Red Wings are Stanley Cup contenders now in the Atlantic Division. They came out of nowhere. Would you be drafting Wings in your playoff draft or laying a little change down on them at the Bet Regal Futures window?
I might put some money on them as a team, as a long shot. I'd still consider them long shots. I don't know that I'd consider them Stanley Cup contenders or favorites yet. But I've been telling you, man, you haven't had LA in your top 5. And I've been saying every week that LA should be right there. And, I still think the Rangers are number 1. They won 8 of 10, 3 in a row. I think the Rangers are still ahead of the LA Kings in terms of the top teams in the league. But, man, a lot of those teams, Carolina's playing well again. Stars are playing well. But don't look now. Colorado's dropped 3 in a row. So it's fun to follow this ebbs and flows of the season.
Hey, by the way, we're going to break here right now, other than to say John Ohm in Winnipeg. Says, speaking of the NHL All-Star Game, I sure hope the Rod Squad can get live reports from Moose like you did at the Grey Cup this year. That was awesome. Can you get on that right now? And I'll tell you who you need to talk to. His name's Jeff at the NHL. And Moose, we got to have you there. We broadcast live from the NHL All-Star Game last year. It was here in South Florida. It's going to be in Toronto. It's in only 2 months' time, Moose. We can't have you dropping the puck on that. We got to make that happen, okay? I don't even know. Maybe that's been on your radar. I know we haven't talked about it. That's something that has to happen.
Let's talk about it. Let's make it happen.
Yeah, if you want to come back later, you can. If not, shalom. But thank you.
Thank you.
Coach Reinebold, Europe's coach. How about that? America's coach is Ditka. Europe's coach is Jeff Reinebold. He joins us next. The coaching legend from Sky Sports. We are not on Game Plus television today, but we are on the radio in Atlanta, WQEE, and, of course, the streams, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and YouTube Live.
The sports landscape continues to change, and teams and facilities are under more pressure to provide online and in-venue entertainment. They need the right team to deliver their product. Look no further than IKS Live. We provide service across North America and produce the best fan experience across all platforms.
Text 902-518-3033. 902-518-3033. Pick up your phone and text RP, that's Rod Pedersen. Text 902-518-3033.
IKS Game Day wishes to congratulate the city of Estevan and Affinity Place on their brand new center ice display. This state-of-the-art score clock features 5 LED faces with full motion graphics, scoring integration, and our new halo mounting system. If it's time for an upgrade, let us show you how to deliver the best fan experience. You can find us at IKSGameDay.com.
Nestled in the scenic Qu'Appelle Valley, just 20 minutes northwest of Regina, is one of the finest golf courses in all of Saskatchewan, the Deer Valley Golf Club. The clubhouse has a full-service restaurant, and customers can enjoy a casual dining experience with spectacular views of the golf course and valley. A fully stocked golf shop, staffed by PGA of Canada professionals, is equipped to meet all of your golf apparel and equipment needs. Book your tee time, family event, or corporate tournament at the Deer Valley Golf Club. Call 306-731-1445.
Does this look familiar? Your fans deserve an incredible arena experience. It's time for an upgrade. Stunning graphics. Revenue opportunities are just the beginning with our in-venue display systems and scoring technology. Let us help you find the best solution for your facility. DDG, always delivering the best fan experience.
Here's how your business can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show. All you have to do is contact us, and we will tell you all about the dynamic and exciting marketing opportunities we have, utilizing a fully integrated 360-degree multi-platform. Imagine your business seen and heard across Canada on Game Plus TV and around the world on the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. You will use one of the most overused expressions in sports. You gotta be kidding me. Get your business involved. Contact the Rod Pedersen Show today.
Broadcasting live from South Florida, hockey, football, hockey. That's what we do here. Hey, the Cincinnati Bengals will try to get back to the 500 mark with a victory tonight in Jacksonville. It's the first meeting between the two teams in over 2 years. The 5-6 Bengals are last in the NFL in rushing. The Jags have the 10th ranked defense. They interplay at 8-3. A win tonight makes them the #1 seed in the AFC. Talking ball, let's bring in Europe's coach, Jeff Reinebold from Europe. How do you like that, Coach? I like the ring of that. What do you think?
I like it. I like it too, Rod. Hey, how come we're not on TV today?
Stop. Don't. Ask them. Ask the network. That's what I'd like to know. We get all the complaints. I'm like, call them. I know you're teed up. You're a funny guy, Jeff.
I just had to do that. I'm sorry.
Hey, you're good. Listen, I got to say this. People got to see your personality. You're over there in England. Are you on a Christmas lights tour, or are you there for football? All I see from your social media is all these Christmas lights photos from all over.
No, we're doing football. I'll tell you what. And man, oh man, did we have some good games yet? This thing's starting to clear itself up. It's not as muddy as it was 2 weeks ago. But I'm gonna say this, Rod. The battles, I think, are really more for the wild card spots than they are for the division titles, because I think the divisions are starting to separate.
Yeah, but I'm sitting here, Cowboys guy, 9-3, going, well, I know why we're in a wild card spot, because the Eagles are in the division, but do you have any generalities or predictions? Like, this is pretty wild. You can't really make a prediction how this is going to end the next few weeks.
No, I don't think the Cowboys are out of it. And as long as Dak keeps playing the way he's playing, and I said all the way back at, after the first quarter of the season, when you could see that Pollard was going to be, that guy, and that they had depth at running back, and, the receiving core. CeeDee Lamb has been really, really good, but that defense is maybe as good as there is in the league. So I thought the Cowboys will go as far as Dak takes them. And I've been pumping my brakes on the Cowboys for 20 years because it just seems like if you're a Cowboy fan, you get all the hype and all of it, and then all of a sudden you get all the letdown. But they really have played well. They played well down the stretch. And, there are very few weaknesses on that football team. And there's no team in the league right now, in my opinion, that's the perfect team. So I think the Cowboys have a tremendous opportunity in front of them.
Well, how about this? I saw a pundit say, and I can't disagree, the weakness on the Cowboys is Mike McCarthy. How do you answer that?
You know what? Everybody, here's how I would answer it, right? When you look, Kellen Moore was the golden child, right? And Kellen Moore, did a great job when he was a coordinator there, and there was talk about him being a head coach and all of it, right? And when he left and Mike took over the offense, what has happened with the quarterback? All of a sudden now, a guy that threw a ton of interceptions last year is protecting the ball. He's making all the throws, better decisions. There's more balance in the offense. I think all of those things. And I think the fact that Mike McCarthy's got Dan Quinn with that defense. Dan Quinn's a head coach in the National Football League without the title, because you see the way that defense plays, the way that they react to him. I really think that the Cowboys, those are the reasons why, for the first time in a long, long time, I'm kind of bullish on the Cowboys, because we saw last night with Philadelphia that they're not a perfect football team. And they struggle at times throwing the football. You can run the ball on the edges on them. And, so again, the Cowboys, if they can continue to play the way they're playing, they have every bit of a right to think that they can win that division yet. I really truly believe that.
Well, wouldn't that be something? I hope that you're right. And, with the Eagles, they survived the scare against the Bills, but the 49ers, I would be saying expose them. Is that too harsh of a term?
No, I don't. I think in some ways, yes. In other ways, no. The Eagles had gotten on that streak where I think it was 4 in a row. They've been behind at halftime and came back and won. And there's positives and negatives in that. That's not a habit you want to get in, but it does show your resiliency. It does show the kind of quarterback that you have. But again, I really truly believe that when it's all said and done, that this thing is going to really, really sort itself out. And I think that, when you look at the NFC North, for example, Detroit's, not in control. I've seen too much of the old Jared Goff this season, as opposed to the one that, early in the year was so hot. A couple weeks ago, he was really bad. And again, had that look on his face that he had when he was in St. Louis and Los Angeles with the Rams, like the game was too big for him. Although he did a great job, he bounced back last night against New Orleans. So Atlanta is the best of a bad division in the South. And I think if you look at the most complete team in the NFC, you got to say it's San Francisco, because when they're healthy, they got the best tight end in football. They got the best fullback in football. They got 2 great receivers in Ayuk and Debo, the best left tackle in football. And Brock Purdy, you can say whatever you want about him and where he's drafted and all those easy stories, all that low-hanging fruit when you're a media guy, and that's all you want to talk about. How about talking about the guy that's leading the league in about 8 different quarterback categories? And, who cares where he was drafted? How is that relevant? That was 2 years ago, right? And it's, I say this to our players in the CFL, Rod. Yep.
No, go ahead. You say it to your players. What do you say?
I say to our players in the CFL, I said, the easiest thing to get in pro football is a label. The hardest thing to lose is that label. And somehow he's labeled as a, system quarterback. Look at the game, watch the tape, see the throw, right? The things that Shanahan has him do and the amount of information he's got to process and the throws with his, is where he comes away from the center with his back to the, to the secondary. So he's got to make his read as he comes off of a play action fake. That's not easy. And only somebody who doesn't really know the game would say, oh, those are all easy throws. I mean, come on, man. It's not even close. Yes, he throws the ball inside better than throwing the ball on the perimeter, but that's about 3/4 of the quarterbacks in the National Football League.
Yeah, I'll tell you something about those labels, though. The good thing about them is they're what gets you out of bed in the morning to dispel the haters and that kind of thing. So I flipped it, and I look at it as a good thing. But I got to say this. The Dolphins are 9-3 for the first time in over 20 years, and I feel that you're a jewel having the ability to ask you these questions. How do you feel about that criticism the Cowboys get and the Dolphins? Yeah, you can beat teams with a losing record, but you can't beat the good teams. What do you say to that?
Well, the last time I checked, Rod, you have to play the schedule that the league gives you. I mean, so you try and be 1-0 this week. I mean, that's what it's all about. And, you can find the flaws in every single team in the league. I don't care who you're talking about. There, you can create your own narrative if you want. They can't do this. They can't do that. I mean, how long did we have to? Do you think Tua is good enough now? I mean, yeah, I think he's good enough, but I thought he was good enough 2 years ago. It's sometimes we, in this world that we live in, where it's all about clicks and it's all about, shock journalism or, hot takes and all that. It's frustrating because, that kid's been an accurate passer, and he does have some things, physical things that you would like to have better. You'd like him bigger. You'd like him stronger. You'd like him, more physical probably. But I'm going to tell you something. He is accurate with the football. He knows where to go with it. And he is, for a Mike McDaniel, he is exactly what he wants. A decision maker who's accurate with the ball.
Yeah. Well, he has stayed healthy for the first time ever this year, too. And that helps. I got to ask you this. Arlen Bruce wrote in with a question earlier. AB had this regarding the college football playoff. I've allotted some time here for you to get into this. AB goes, when I played college, we just wanted to go to a bowl game. AB goes, we just wanted to go to a bowl game. There's too much emphasis now on the Natty, on the national championship. Does he have a point in saying, like, this furor with FSU, I wonder where you stand on that. And of the bowl games, he called it a slap in the face if you're not in the top 4 playing for the Crystal Ball.
Well, I think, college football's changed so much, Rod, from even the time that AB played. It used to be, when I was a kid growing up, there was one team in the Big Ten that went to a bowl game, and you went to the Rose Bowl, and that's the only bowl game you could go to, and that was the only team that could go was the conference championship, the conference champion. Well, it's so different now with this proliferation of bowl games, and that's good, I think, because it's more football, and, obviously ESPN needs the programming. They're the ones that run the bowl system. I've been in, I've been in the Belk Bowl and I've been in the Sugar Bowl. And I'm going to say this, that for the players and for the fans and for all of it, the opportunity to play one more time, to be together one more time, to represent your school, to do all of those things. I've never had a bad bowl experience, and I think I've been to 12 of them. So I think that what has happened, though, Rod, is there's now more and more 2 classes of citizens in college football. There's the top 30 or 40 teams, and then there's everybody else, because there's 131 division or 132 Division I programs. Well, it's hard to compare the University of Louisiana Monroe to LSU, but they're both Division I programs. Their budgets are completely different. Their aspirations are completely different, all of it. So for the big guys, yeah, I'm sure that's the way it is. If you can't make it to play for the the glass trophy, then, it's a disappointing year. But, again, it's never going to be a perfect system, because there's some teams that are not going to play for it this year that certainly have an argument. Florida State has an argument. Georgia has an argument. So Ohio State has an argument, and it's just the way it is. We only have there are only 4 spots the way it's right now, and again, where also I think this is leading us to is you hear about style points now, right? It's like diving in the Olympics. You want to do a tougher dive so you can get more points. Well, you got to drill somebody out. Like you saw Texas, I think was in their next to the last game or last game they played Texas Tech, and they beat them 57-7, I think it was 50 points they beat. And why did they, wear them out like that? Because they knew that they were going to be in a battle to get one of those 4 spots, and they needed style points. And style points come by lopsided victories.
Listen, I am Canadian. I'm a Canadian football fan. I'm not insulting anybody by saying this. Canadians wouldn't understand it. I've been down here 2 years. It's taken me that long to just get my head around this. Yeah, you won, but you didn't win by enough. I hear it in the media. Dan Patrick's saying that about teams. I said, what are you talking? I thought the idea was to win. You just explained why that's not enough.
No, it isn't. And, if you look at it, in my opinion, if you look at it, of the 4 teams that are in the playoffs, Michigan, they beat Ohio State. The Big Ten isn't exactly the best conference in the nation. And, Florida State's in the ACC. I'd put the ACC up there with the Big Ten this year. And they were undefeated. And, then there's the issue with the quarterback. And because the quarterback's not healthy, that's the excuse they can use. But obviously, Florida State has every reason. And Mike Norvell has done a fantastic job because he took over a mess when he got it. And he's done a fantastic job of building that program back to Bobby Bowden standard.
How should they feel, Jeff? How should the Seminoles feel?
Well, I'm sure they're disappointed. Obviously, they're disappointed because it's it hurts in a lot of ways, right? Your competitive side hurts because you want to compete to be a champion, right? That's what you play the game for. Now, from a monetary standpoint, that's a huge, huge financial windfall for the school. The school. I'm not talking about the football team. I'm talking about the school because those schools benefit. The entire school benefits from a game like that, an opportunity like that, and then from a recruiting standpoint, because every kid thinks he's going to the NFL, and every kid thinks he's going to go to a BCS school and start his first year, and so. There's a lot of reasons to be disappointed other than just the competitive part.
Yeah, I got you. Well, I'm a little with you. You mentioned Michigan. I'm sitting there going, how come Washington's getting a pass? Everybody's all over Texas and Alabama, why they're in. I'm like, what about these other 2 teams? But it's endless discussion. Endless.
Oh yeah, and it can't. And that's part of the beauty of it, though, in its own kind of strange way, I guess. It's it gives us more to talk about, more to chew on, because you can now say, okay, let's compare the ACC to the Pac-12. Well, who was in the Pac-12? You had a good Oregon State team. You had a good offense at USC. Couldn't play defense. Oregon was a good football team, and the rest were just okay, right? Well, then you go to the ACC, and you got Miami, who underachieved, and Clemson underachieved, and Pitt had a bad year. And so was it a down year in the ACC? So how do you grade that? There's just it's an imperfect science done by imperfect people. So it's going to be imperfect.
Yeah, and guys slitting throats, I'm sure, to get on that 13-man selection committee. To say that they're on it. You know what I mean? Oh, my God.
Hey, I'll tell you what, Rod, there is a unbelievable piece out on YouTube where Mike Lee, they should put his bust at Mount Rushmore because he was a national treasure. And he talks about what it's like and the people that are on that committee, people who, their biggest, I guess their reason for being on the committee because they're a rich fan or whatever. It's just like what are the qualifications to be on that committee, to make that decision. And, you're making a decision when you choose to shut a team out like they did Florida State, like they did Georgia. You're not only, like I said, breaking the hearts of all those players that maybe this is their last chance to win a national championship, but, you're creating a huge problem for the school in terms of, the financial part of it is so important, and how you're going to budget for next year, and all of it. So, and the conferences, because it all it kind of all flows downhill when you go to, like, when we went to the BCS game when I was at Hawaii. We went to the Sugar Bowl and played Georgia one year, and it made for the school, Rod, $24 million. Right now, that's the general fund of the school. That's not the athletic department. And then every school in our conference, Boise State, New Mexico State, Louisiana Tech, every one of those other schools in our conference, they got bowl revenue from that too. So there's a reason for everybody in the ACC to want Florida State in that, right? Because they're going to share in that revenue.
We could go on for days, and a lot are. Coach, thanks. Europe's coach, that's probably just for today. I like it. But keep doing what you do. We're enjoying following you over here. Enjoy the games. We'll chat with you next week.
All right, Rod. Take care. Appreciate you.
Appreciate you. CFL coaching legend overall, Jeff Reinebold from Sky Sports repping today. We'll be back with a sports update and audience takeover when we return. No Game Plus TV today, but we are on the radio in Atlanta, WQEE, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and YouTube Live.
Text 902-518-3033. 902-518-3033. Pick up your phone and text RP, that's Rod Pedersen. Text 902-518-3033.
Did you know that you can help save a life? And you can start right now.
Stem cells from male donors increase chances of positive outcomes for patients, yet they only make up 40% of our registry.
Today, there are hundreds of people in Canada searching for their life-saving match.
You can be a patient's best hope. Be a hero by registering with Canadian Blood Services Stem Cell Registry now.
Does this look familiar? Your fans deserve an incredible arena experience. It's time for an upgrade. Stunning graphics. Revenue opportunities are just the beginning with our in-venue display systems and scoring technology. Let us help you find the best solution for your facility. DDG, always delivering the best fan experience.
I'm Bridget Lacquette. I'm a First Nation Olympic silver medalist, and I'm proud to represent Indigenous hockey players across Canada. Each year, hundreds of Canadians need a stem cell transplant from an unrelated donor to save their life. Anyone can have a hard time finding a stem cell match, but for Indigenous peoples, it can be even more difficult because just over 1% of prospective donors on Canada's stem cell registry are of Indigenous backgrounds. Be a hero. Join me in Hockey Gives Blood in helping to make a life-saving difference to those in need. Register today at blood.ca/beahero.
Hi, my name is Logan Stankoven.
And I'm Connor Bedard.
We're both Hockey Gives Blood player ambassadors and proud to be blood donors.
There are thousands of patients each year in Canada that rely on a generous stranger to save their life.
Please book an appointment today to donate blood at blood.ca/HGB.
business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest-growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
All right, welcome back, everybody. It's just us, I'm guessing, until the top of the hour, until the end of the show today. So now is the perfect time to get into your questions and comments. 902-518-3033. No moose here to distract us. Sober Carpenter text line is open, 902-518-3033. Sober Carpenter, non-alcoholic craft beers. Delicious going down. Cut you when you try and rip the tabs off. Ask for it by name at your favorite beer, wine, and spirit store. People just, I'm very surprised. Very surprised, Jerry, at the amount of excitement our audience has with this college football story. Tank Abbott is watching in the Energy City, and he says 13-0 should get you in. You play to win the games. You don't play to just play it. Classic Herm Edwards. Oh, man, I don't know that there's any winnable side to this. Yeah, they fought like hell to go 13-0 and win a conference championship, but now your quarterback's hurt. You're not one of the 4 best teams left in the country. Even you would have to admit that, and they might. And as Coach Reinebold said, that's the beauty of it all. We're all talking about it for hours. The other leagues just would be dying to have this type of hype and talk, and that's a fact, Jack. Allie in Tex Arcana says, I wouldn't want that job personally. She's talking about being on the 13-person selection committee of who is the final 4 teams. Yeah, but that's, Allie, because you don't have a huge ego. Please don't get me started on the types of persons that these positions attract. You didn't get me started. I got myself started. So they can run around and tell their buddies that they're on this committee, and we screwed FSU. I know a lot of those people. They're sick. Hey, Wayne in Victoria, BC, injecting some commentary from what we said earlier today, similar to officiating. Wayne says it will always be an imperfect system because it's run by human beings, LOL. Yeah, but that's to admit they made a mistake. They're not saying they made a mistake. This is about ego. Anyways, to the sports update. 902-518-3033. Holy smokes. This is going to go fast. So if you have comments, get them in now. 902-518-3033. Clark, if you are bored and you want to pull up a picture here, Jeff, the Stamps fan, has sent us a picture on the 902 line. He goes, good morning, all. On Saturday, I went to the Stampeders locker room sale and added the Truth and Reconciliation helmet to my collection. So that photo's there. I don't know if you want to get it, Clark. Tell me if you do. And we can. This is Jeff, the Stamps fan's collection of Stampeders helmets. And to be honest, yeah, he's going to get it and show the world. To be honest, that logo is really cool, what they did with the Truth and Reconciliation thing with various CFL teams. Did the Riders do something on that? Edmonton did for sure. They had really cool helmets. I don't recall the Riders. I'm sure they did, but I just don't remember seeing it. These locker room sales remind me of a story, and not a real good one. Another reason why I get in trouble all the time. Riders had a locker room sale. Here's the photo. Jeff, the Stamps fan, thanks for sending. That's his Stampeders collection of helmets, and the top one on the left is the Truth and Reconciliation helmet. Sorry, back left. I guess it's up against the window. My eyes are bad. Yeah, it's the one against the window to the left. It's an anniversary one the other way. You got a lot of helmets there, Jeff. Anyways, Riders had a locker room sale. And if you can believe, this is back in the old place, Taylorfield, they were selling pants football pants. So, of course, I'm standing by the rack. They're selling game-worn gear. And I said, pants? Guys pee in those. Store manager said, Roddy! And then they didn't sell any. And the people that were looking at them dropped them on the floor. Well, you might have wanted to tell people that the players pee in these. In you go. Another meeting, catching hell. Wayne of Victoria, BC says, it has already been a fast almost 2 hours. I'm telling you. That is the one thing you'll never hear about this show. You don't hear a lot of criticism. You don't. But one thing you will not hear is that it drags. It does not drag. And I will say this. I don't want to go back to working for one team. I mean, I may, but I don't want to. I love the ability to talk about various leagues, various teams. This is fun today. It's been fun with the college football talk. It's new. It's not boring. Sports update. There are 2 Canadian NHL teams in action tonight, both on home ice. The Montreal Canadiens take on the Seattle Kraken, and the Winnipeg Jets face the Carolina Hurricanes. There are 4 other games. The Western Conference leading Vegas Golden Knights entertain St. Louis in the late game. That reminds me, Blues at Vegas, the Golden Knights, 4 years ago, it's pre-COVID, 4 or 5 years ago, called me up, true story, said, pick some games, come on down, we would like to host you at some games here. And they did. In the team hotel, my brother came with me. The Blues were there and the Islanders in the 2 games. My brother will be mad if I say this, but I'm going to say it anyway. He's probably not watching. He goes, I want to borrow some of your clothes. I said, what do you want to borrow my clothes for? And he goes, well, you know me. All I got is Wranglers and sweats. I said, bring them. Who cares? Be you. We're all about being you. So he didn't bring sweatpants. He wasn't laying on the couch, but he wore his Wranglers and his big belt buckle and his boots. And the Golden Knights loved him. And we went to the practice facility. What's reminding me about this is that the Blues are there, obviously. The Golden Knights won that night 2-0. But we went to the practice facility, and the Golden Knights people were like, he's a real cowboy. Yeah, they exist. The NBA in-season tournament quarterfinals begin tonight with a pair of games. Boston visits Indiana, and Sacramento is home to New Orleans. The other quarterfinals are set for Tuesday. The Lakers will meet Phoenix, and New York takes on Milwaukee. The Toronto Raptors are back in action Wednesday against the Miami Heat. Where's that game? Oh, can't go to it anyways. It's bobblehead night, Aaron Ekblad bobblehead night. At the bank. The sports update brought to you by Landmark Cinemas. In Landmark Cinemas now, Silent Night. From legendary director John Woo and the producer of John Wick comes this gritty revenge tale of a tormented father who witnesses his young son die when caught in a gang's crossfire on Christmas Eve. Silent Night redefines the action genre with visceral, thrill-a-minute storytelling. We'll see if the Golden Girl will come with me to that. It's got me sold. And also brought to you by Common Crown Brewing Company, turning your everyday common beer into a unique and exceptional experience. Visit commoncrown.ca. Overtime's next. Get all your comments out, and we'll read them after this pause. Not on Game Plus television, but on the radio, WQEE, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and YouTube Live.
The sports landscape continues to change, and teams and facilities are under more pressure to provide online and in-venue entertainment. They need the right team to deliver their product. Look no further than IKS Live. We provide service across North America and produce the best fan experience across all platforms.
Does this look familiar? Your fans deserve an incredible arena experience. It's time for an upgrade. Stunning graphics. Revenue opportunities are just the beginning with our in-venue display systems and scoring technology. Let us help you find the best solution for your facility. DDG, always delivering the best fan experience.
Hi, my name is Logan Stankoven.
And I'm Connor Bedard.
We're both Hockey Gives Blood player ambassadors and proud to be blood donors.
There are thousands of patients each year in Canada that rely on a generous stranger to save their life.
Please book an appointment today to donate blood at blood.ca/HGB.
IKS Game Day wishes to congratulate the city of Estevan and Affinity Place on their brand new center ice display. This state-of-the-art score clock features 5 LED faces with full motion graphics, scoring integration, and our new halo mounting system. If it's time for an upgrade, let us show you how to deliver the best fan experience. You can find us at iksgameday.com.
Here's how your business can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show. All you have to do is contact us, and we will tell you all about the dynamic and exciting marketing opportunities we have, utilizing a fully integrated 360-degree multi-platform. Imagine your business seen and heard across Canada on Game Plus TV and around the world on the Rod Peterson Digital Network. You will use one of the most overused expressions in sports. You gotta be kidding me. Get your business involved. Contact the Rod Peterson Show today.
Well, this one's going to fly by, too. I know it, because time flies when you're having fun, and that's exactly what we've been doing today. You're going to see when the camera comes on me that it's a hot one. Ooh, doggy, the sun just came out from behind a cloud, and I'm still and will always, I think, operate on the Celsius clock, Celsius scale, temperature, whatever you want to say. It's like 32 degrees Celsius yesterday. I think 31 today. Not complaining. Hot in the sun, I'll tell you that for free. Overtime's brought to you by our friends at Overtime Hockey Lanes, where skill and fun collide, an amusement park for hockey enthusiasts. Have you booked your Christmas party yet? If not, it's going to be 10 hard laps. Just email info at overtimehl.ca. That's what it is, right, Randy? Or look them up, 28th Street Northeast in Calgary. Come on in from all over southern Alberta. If you're in Calgary for a tournament, if you're in Calgary for business, visiting friends or family, just check out Overtime Hockey Lanes. There's nothing like it. There's nothing like it that I've ever seen. It's like Top Golf, but for hockey. Sold you yet? John Ohm says the Winnipeg Jets need to improve that face-off stat. My only complaint, Rod, and then he gave a goofy emoji. And all I'm saying, John's a very upbeat guy. John Ohm from Winnipeg. He don't need a lot of help, I don't think, with being happy, and he sure doesn't with energy. All I'm saying is I did watch that Jets-Blackhawks game. I saw John writing in here earlier that he saw Connor Bedard in person close up. While we have a minute, tell me why the Jets owner climbed on the Blackhawks bus to personally address Bedard. Is that true? Did you hear anything about that, Clark? That Mark Chipman, the Jets owner, got on the Blackhawks bus? Yeah, me either. I'm about at the end of my rope with this one Instagram account that I saw that, but there's no link to the story. It would not surprise me that an owner got on the bus thinking that's their domain, which it isn't, of the other team. But if so, I'd love to know if that was true. Anyways, with regards to the Jets needing to improve their face-off stat, you don't need to laugh at that or feel sheepish if that's it. All I'm saying, if you want to be happy with your team and in life, stop looking for things that need to improve and look at things that you're happy about. And I'm not saying you're doing that with the Jets, but I don't look at my favorite teams and look at where they could be better. That's just a recipe for unhappiness. And quite frankly, it's got nothing to do with me. And they don't care what you think. So just enjoy the games. But do you. But and I see that with all fans in both countries. It feels like a Canadian thing, but just to look at a stat that ain't great, why? John goes on to say, if the NBA in-season tournament is deemed a success, how long will it be that the NHL does the same thing? Who knows? I think we've covered this in the not-too-distant past. The NHL and NBA loathe each other, so I don't think there could be a lot of copying going on there. Wayne in BC says, has anyone else seen The Continental on Amazon Prime? I have not, but we did watch all the episodes of Get Gaudy last night and thoroughly enjoyed it. John, Get Gaudy. For those of us that were alive in the 80s, remember that phenomenon of John Gotti? Wasn't that something? 3 episodes on Netflix, Get Gaudy. It was fantastic. Some lessons to be learned there, too. Allie in Texarkana says, have a great day, Rod Squad. Great show today. Good conversations and points made. Well, we learned something today. Our crew is really into college football. I didn't know that. Thanks for tuning in. We'll see you tomorrow, noon Eastern.
Who has more fun than us?